does post-game show for NBC Dallas. And, of course, he joins us now with the outside view. Look at the Dallas Cowboys at 2-5. Drew, obviously not the way they drew it up, but I guess losing Romo has been the biggest blow to that team. But maybe you could say not having a sufficient backup to Romo could be a bigger problem.
Yeah, and, they were kind of living on the edge with that as Whedon as a backup. They got pretty good backup when Kyle Orton was there. And even John Kitna, they were very serviceable, and they had won and had some success in the National Football League. But they're living on the edge with Whedon back there in Romo's case. And knowing Romo has had some situations, injury problems over the years and coming off back surgeries and stuff, you would think that would be a priority for them to find somebody more serviceable to be that backup just in case of injury. But we are finding out what Tony Romo really means to this team. Whatever they're paying him, he's definitely worth it, because without him on offense, we really have done nothing. And these quarterbacks that have stepped in, even Castle, just haven't lived up to what we can. We don't really want them to win football games. Just fit in and do your job. But at the same time, you got to be able to open up that offense a little more to be successful.
Yeah, and I want to get your take, Drew, as you're down there in Dallas. Are people writing the season off, or is it once we get Romo back, we're the best team in the NFC? Has it been more of in the NFC East? Is it more of that feeling, or is it more of, look, we just can't get out of our own way with him not here, and we're going to run out of time?
There's a little bit of both, but for the most part, as long as there's a mathematical opportunity there, the players are going to remain focused and motivated. The players are saying all the right things, and they're playing hard. I mean, we've lost some close games. The only game in this 5-game losing streak that we got blown out was New England, and you see what they're doing to everybody else as well. So we've been in football games. Our finisher, Tony Romo, hasn't been there. And we've had situations to win football games in the fourth quarter. If Tony was there, we'd have a better chance to win those games. But without Tony, we just fizzled. And but we played well. We played Seattle well. We lost that game 13-12. And that 17-yard drive, 17-play, 79-yard drive that won the game for them, it was just a remarkable. Their finisher was there. Russell Wilson was there. That's what he does. He finishes games, and our finisher wasn't there, so we end up losing the game. So it's not that bad. It's just that it's not that good either. So the feeling here is that as long as we have an opportunity, and then we see what's going on also around the rest of the NFC East, in the loss column, we're only one game out of first place. So, that gives them hope as well.
Yeah, it's been a bad division. It's been ugly to watch a lot of these teams, and a lot of the games when they play against each other have not been, including the first time these two teams played. But Dallas has got some extra pieces from the first time. They got Hardy. McLean has played, is back. I think Leary missed the first game, but he's now out, and Collins is now a little bit more seasoned than he was the first time. Do you think this is, even though the quarterback situation is a problem, a better Cowboys team than the one in Week 2?
Excluding that point where you just ended the question with the quarterback not being there, you could be right. It's playing better. Greg Hardy does bring a presence to that defense, and the defensive line has been playing better since he's been there the last two games. So he brings a presence. He brings that pass rushing threat, and the other guys kind of pick up on that. The linebackers have been playing better. The thing with the defense, our defense, is that we're just not getting turnovers, and that has hurt us. We got our first interception in about 3 weeks. Got 2 interceptions on the season. We got our first one last week, and that was by a defensive lineman, Greg Hardy. So the defensive backs are not getting their hands on the football, and that makes a difference with our defense right now. But they're playing hard, and they're getting after it. So I think they're better than what y'all going to see, or the Eagles going to see from the first. Offensively, I think the offensive line is playing better. They started off, but they're starting to gel. They're starting to get it together. McFadden is fitting in now, and he's, running for 150-some yards and doing kind of things, so showing his ability. So it's just got to get the passing game up to par, and I think the Eagles will see a better team this Sunday night when they come to town.
Well, Dez wasn't there the last time. It was almost like he wasn't there last week. They took him completely out of the game. You anticipate, by the way, Drew Pearson is with us, 188 other, that one will be better than the one we saw last week.
Oh, yeah. He should be more in the groove. Have a little more time to work with Matt Castle, on the plays before practice, after practice, and doing what they got to do to get their timing down and confidence in each other. Physically, his conditioning should be better. What Seattle did is they had Richard Sherman trail him throughout the football game. The only time he didn't is when Dez was in the slot formation, and bam, Dez caught one of his two passes. But anyway, what they did was be physical with him at the line of scrimmage, see if he could push off on that foot, and not only push off one or two times, but throughout an NFL football game. And, he held up pretty good. No word that he hurt himself any further. So he should be in better shape and ready to go and give us a better performance. And hopefully that would up our wide receiver position because we're not getting any production anybody else right now.
Hey, Drew, I understand they lost Romo, and I think you mentioned how valuable he is. But do you find it to be acceptable to be 0-5 with him out? I mean, I know teams lose quarterbacks. The Eagles have gone through it for a couple of years. Vic went out. Foles came in. Foles took the job. Foles went out. Sanchez kept him afloat. Vic won the job from Cobb because, so if I say Romo's hurt, okay, but to be 0-5 without him, I mean, is that something that, do you find that to be, you say, you know what, it's fair to say because they don't have Romo, but do you think that is acceptable?
Not at all. Not at all. And, I hope these guys on the team don't think that's acceptable, man. Because in that situation, it happens to everybody. Injuries are so much more prevalent to key players, throughout the course of a season nowadays than ever. And even especially this season, everybody has players going down. Pittsburgh was without Roethlisberger for a period of time. So these injuries happen. You can't be sitting around feeling sorry for yourself and saying, well, the reason we're not having success is because our leader hasn't been there and our other best offensive player hasn't been there. But no, that is not acceptable. And as a Dallas Cowboy, a former Dallas Cowboy, you just got me upset, I'm like thinking, no, it'd never be acceptable as far as being a Dallas Cowboy and being mired in a 5-game losing streak. I don't have any statistics, but this doesn't happen very often with the Cowboys. They always seem to find some way, even if it's a 2-game, then win and go back to a 3-game, something like that. They always find some way to break it up and not have this kind of streak going in a dubious way.
Yeah, no, and one of the reasons is that, you talk about, I've said many times, without Romo, if they can't figure out a way to scratch one out, I just don't know that when he gets back, they're going to have enough time. And to realistically, Drew, think that he's going to run the table when he comes back, I think is asking too much. And that might be what he has to do, even with the division being as poor as it is.
Yeah, you got to be careful when he does come back. You're right. And, that's one of the best things they did was put him on that injured reserve, able to return list as opposed to just holding him out and keeping him on the roster like they did with Dez, because they would be tempted right now to put Romo in. And he's not ready yet. And they would, but I guarantee you he'd be starting this game Sunday night if he was not on that list. So to monitor, police themselves, it was a good thing that they put him on this list because, we're not talking about just this season for Tony Romo. We talked about the quarterback position already. We have nobody there to take over if Tony can't go. So we're thinking about the future with Tony Romo as well. So you got to be content to make sure that he's healed way over 100%. And to get back in there. But then when he does get back in there, he's been out for a long time. And, again, your conditioning level, mental toughness level, physical condition, all that has to be rebuilt as well. And that takes time. So we can't expect him to all of a sudden come in, and now it's going to be easy, and we're going to start winning football games. So, it's a situation we'd love to have him back, but we got to be cautious in bringing him back.
Last one for you, Drew. Drew Pearson, Ring of Honor down in there in Dallas, and obviously they put Haley in there last week. A lot of greats. He's one of them. NFL All-Decade, now doing post-game on Dallas games. Murray, yesterday we were talking about Murray and whether this team would be 0-5 without a guy like Murray. Are they missing Murray? Even though McFadden, I'll give him credit, he's kept himself upright and he's done a nice job. But are they missing Murray?
Absolutely. And they won't say it. I think they're sitting there with egg on their face, especially after the release this week of Joseph Randle. He was supposed to be the head of the committee, and that was the committee to replace DeMarco Murray, Joseph Randle, Darren McFadden, Christine Michael. Those were that's the committee, but they released the committee, and to me that's an admission of guilt here that they do miss DeMarco Murray. He brought the good, we see a lot of that running style right now in Derek McFadden, but McFadden's, I don't know what to say. Murray just had that experience of being able to set up the blockers, pick up the blocks, and find that daylight and, have the speed to burst through that daylight. And McFadden has some of that, but if we're riding his back, it's another delicate situation because he's been hurt throughout his career, and if he goes down, we got, Kristen Michael, and we don't know what he can do. And then they just signed Trey Williams off the Redskin practice squad to fill in as the third running back. So, yeah, with that personnel list that I just went through, we certainly missed DeMarco Murray, especially coming off a season like he had.
Well, he had 2 yards on 13 carries the last time. Let's Eagle fans hope that is much, much better. He hasn't really fit in here, but I understand that this system and that system are different, so that doesn't mean if he was there that things wouldn't be different, because I think you're right. I think they're missing him. Drew Pearson, 88, of course, in the Ring of Honor, and of all decade, 1970s. Mr. Clutch here on the Sports Bash 97.3 ESPN. Always a pleasure, Drew, to catch up with you.
Okay, anytime. Y'all be safe. Go Cowboys.